The aim of all genuine occult paths or systems, whether designated right hand or left hand, is to achieve or find a certain goal, as well as to impart esoteric knowledge and abilities. The goal is variously described, such as gnosis, the philosopher's stone, enlightenment, or even immortality. However, it has been a common misconception that the right-hand paths were altruistic and the left-hand paths egocentric, as in the differences between them was seen in individual moral terms. Another misconception is in seeing the difference in absolute moral terms, as in the right-hand paths are representing good and the left-hand paths represent evil. Recently, attempts have been made to formulate gray paths, which combine elements of both, and such gray paths are often said by their exponents to be the true occult way or path. The reality is quite different. The left-hand paths and the right-hand paths, hereafter the singular path will be used, by the way, although the plural is to be understood, are quite distinct and differ in both their methods and their aims. The most fundamental difference is that the right-hand path is restrictive. Certain things are forbidden or frowned upon, and collective. That is, the right-hand path takes some responsibility away from the individual by having a formal dogma, a code of ethics and behavior, and by having the individual participate in an organized grouping, however loose that grouping may be. In brief, the identity of the individual is to some extent taken away by the beliefs, systems which that individual has to accept, and by them accepting some higher authority, by such authority an individual, a group, or an ideology, or even sometimes a suprapersonal being, a god or gods. In contradistinction, the left-hand path in its methods is non-structured. In the genuine left-hand path, there is nothing that is not permitted, nothing that is forbidden or restricted. That is, the left-hand path means the individual takes sole responsibility for their actions and their quest. This makes the left-hand path both difficult and dangerous. Its methods can be used as an excuse for antisocial behavior, as they can be used to aid the fetishes and weaknesses of some individuals, as well as lead some into forbidden and unnecessarily illegal acts. However, the genuine initiate of the left-hand path is undertaking a quest, and as such is seeking something. That is, there is a dynamic, an imperative about their actions, as well as the conscious understanding and appreciation that all such actions are only a part of that quest. They are not the quest itself. This arises because the left-hand path initiate is seeking mastery and self-knowledge, these being implicit in such an initiation. Accordingly, the left-hand path initiate sees methods as merely methods, experience as merely experience. Both are used, learned from, and then discarded. Because of this, the left-hand path is by its nature ruthless. The strong of character win through and the weak go under. There are no safety nets of any kind on the left-hand path. There is no dogma or ideology to rely on, no one to provide comfort and soften the blows. no organization, individual, or supra-personal being to run to when things get difficult, and which will provide support and sympathy and understanding, or which, just as importantly, takes away the responsibility of the initiate for their deeds. The left-hand path breeds self-achievement and self-excellence, or it destroys, either literally or via delusion and madness. Further, the goal or aim of the left-hand path is individual-specific. It is the raising of that individual to godhood, the fulfillment of individual potential, and thus a discovery and fulfillment of their unique destiny. That is, it breeds a unique character, a unique individual. The right-hand path, on the contrary, is concerned with idealistic and thus suprapersonal aims, aiding society, humanity, and so on. The individual is remade by abstract and impersonal forms. The left-hand path, by its nature, means that its initiates work mostly on their own. Followers of the left-hand path are masters of their as-yet unmanifest destiny. And while they may accept guidance and advice, they eschew any form of subservience. They learn for themselves, by their own experience and from their own self-effort. This is crucial to an understanding of the true nature of the left-hand path. The left-hand path means this self-reliance, this self-experience and self-effort is a personal struggle for achievement. The right-hand path means someone else, some individual, or some authority, or some hierarchy, awards or confers upon the right-hand path initiate a sign or symbol of their progress. That is, the right-hand path initiate assumes the role of student or shelah, and often that of sycophant. They rely on someone else or something beyond themselves, whereas the left-hand path initiate relies only on themselves. Their cunning, skill, character, desire, intelligence, and so on. The successful left-hand path initiate is the individual who learns from their own experiences and mistakes. The right-hand path initiate tries to learn from theory, from what others have done. Essentially, the left-hand path initiate is a free spirit, already possessed of a certain willful character, while the right-hand path initiate is in thrall to other people's ideas and ways of doing things. The notion of self-responsibility is, as mentioned above, crucial to the left-hand path, and accordingly, any organization which claims to be of the left-hand path, and which does not uphold this in both theory and practice, is a fraudulent organization. In practice, this means that an organization does not restrict the experiences of its members. It does not, for instance, impose upon them any binding authority which the members have to accept or face expulsion, just as it does not lay down for them any codes of behavior or ethics. That is, it does not promulgate a dogma which the members have to accept, as it does not require those members to be obedient to what the hierarchy says. There is no proscription of certain views, or individuals, or other organizations, as there is no attempt to make members conform in terms of behavior, attitudes, views, opinions, expressions, or anything else. If there are any of these things, the organization so doing these things is most certainly not an organization of the left-hand path. even though it may use some of the motifs, symbols, and methods of the left-hand path. Such an organization is instead allied to the right-hand path in nature, in the effect it has upon its members. In summary, the right-hand path is soft. The left-hand path is hard. The right-hand path is like a comfortable game, and one which can be played, left for a while, then taken up again. The left-hand path is a struggle which takes years. The right-hand path prescribes behavior and limits personal responsibility. The left-hand path means self-responsibility and self-effort. The right-hand path requires the individual to conform in certain ways. The left-hand path is non-restrictive. Right-hand path organizations and teachers require the initiate to conform and accept the authority of that organization or teacher. Left-hand path organizations and masters and mistresses of these organizations only offer advice and guidance based on their own experience. There is therefore no authority except that found within each initiate.